Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. My name's Chronic Heroes here on this Destiny 2 video, and today we're going to be going over my top 10 favorite hunter exotics in Destiny 2. And of course, this list is going to be completely subjective, based on my own opinion of how I use these exotics, how I play the game, my playstyle, etc, etc. Obviously with a focus on PvE, because that's mostly what I play, but there will be PvP elements as well. So obviously this list does not apply to everyone, but I will be giving my reasonings for each of the items on the list, as well as a brief rundown of all the other exotics and why they don't belong in the top 10 in my opinion. And of course this video is going to be accompanied by its prerequisite spreadsheet, so you can see on screen now an example of my spreadsheets. They're color-coded, dark theme, got pictures, got lists of the best mods, the other armor mods to use with this, subclasses, notes, extra tips, information sources. It's a beautiful spreadsheet, and if you wanted to get access to the spreadsheet, because it is fully public, all you have to do is go over to my Discord, and in the channel hashtag YouTube Twitch in my Discord, around the date that this video came out, you'll be able to find a link to this spreadsheet. So if you like what you see in this video, which is mostly what you're going to be seeing throughout this video, go check it out, go use it. It is fully public for free for you to use. And before I get started, I just wanted to mention some free awesome stuff. I don't know if you're interested in free stuff, but I've got a giveaway going on right now. Astro A40 headset, blue microphone product, $20 gift code to Control Freaks, all for free. Just check in the description down below for a Gleam link to that giveaway. Pretty straightforward stuff, like follow the Twitter, follow the Twitch, and it is completely free, and I do these monthly, so stick around to be able to get more of these opportunities. And just for fun, why don't we just put a cute fluffy animal on screen right now? Can you see how adorable this puppy is right now? There is never an opportunity to be wasted to look at cute fluffy animals. Actually, let's go for two cute fluffy animals for the price of one in Dichronic's videos. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Like I said before, we're going to start off with the unranked ones first and then go backwards through from 10 to 1 of the ranked items. In this particular section, I'm going to try to go through these things very briefly. I'm not going to give a full description of why these things were excluded from my rankings, but I'm going to give you an idea of why they don't fit in the meta. Starting up with the Assassin's Cow, giving you benefits for getting melee kills in the Crucible or finishers in PvE. Neither one of those did I find really that useful. Getting melee kills is just not something I do very often, and finishers, you're putting yourself in a very, very vulnerable position. It's not oftentimes worth it. Graviton Forfeit, nearly doubling your invisibility time and giving you bonuses to your melee ability recharge. It's something that's useful for different cheeses, but not useful when you really need to buckle down on hard activities. Knucklehead Radar, giving you bonuses to your radar, being able to aim down sights and still have your radar. Getting enhanced radar are positive benefits, but there are so many other exotics I'd rather use instead. Aeon Swift, giving you bonuses to you and your allies, and bigger bonuses if they also have Aeon. The issue, nobody uses it, so nobody uses it. And the bonuses are really just not enough. Caffrey Sting is a really weird one. It's one of those weird mismatching jigsaw puzzles. You have to punch an enemy with a full melee charge at close range that will cast a smoke bomb, hopefully hitting more than just the enemy that you punch, because that enemy is just one punch away anyways, and also giving you true sight, being able to see a silhouette of enemies through walls, which is a long range advantage. So those pieces just don't fit together, and it's so infrequent that I trigger it. I just don't find it that useful. The Mechanier's Trick Sleeves, giving you bonuses, including damage bonuses to your sidearms, but I'd rather just use a shotgun, because it's going to be better DPS than any extra bonus you can get. Oathkeeper, a specific exotic for bows. Not only are bows not meta right now, being able to hold them charged indefinitely is really not useful. The only thing it can be useful for is Le Monarch, being able to hold that extra poison bonus for a longer period of time, but that in itself is not very useful as an exotic either. In my opinion, this definitely needs to be buffed. They should do something that integrates with that extra charge. Maybe it can overcharge and give a lot of flinch to that bow attack. I think that would be really cool, but not break the bank. Sealed Ahamkara's Grasp. Dealing melee damage completely reloads your weapons. This is something that could be really useful for DPS, but not often you're going to have an enemy right in front of you when you have DPS. I just don't find that this is going to be useful very often. Trench Barrel and 1-2 Punch, neither one of these you really need to reload that much. Young Ahamkara's Spine, increase the trip mine grenade duration and blast radius, and the ability damage gives you more trip mine grenades. If you like trip mine grenades and you like the buff with Season of Dawn to the explosive knives, to kind of double up on those two, you might like this, but it's too specific for me to really use that often. Lucky Raspberries, an exotic that almost got into the top 10, allowing you to have better chaining capabilities of your arc bolt grenade and having a chance to instantly recharge it, something that's definitely very useful in PvE and PvP. Ophidius Spathe is an honorable mention this time because this season there's a perk called Solar Plexus that gives you more solar melee damage as part of the current artifact for the season. In my opinion, getting a second knife charge has not been useful at all. I still don't think that it's really that useful with solar plexus, but it's definitely something that people have been using. Because in my opinion, a second charge is very infrequently that useful. I'd rather have better recharge than a second charge. The Dragon Shadow, basically the ninja armor. You dodge, you reload all your weapons, you increase both your movement and your handling speed for a brief period of time, which is useful, but definitely not my playstyle, and in my opinion, not enough to warrant a spot. The Six Coyote, one of the only exotics that I would have thought the first 5 additions would be better, because a second dodge charge. How often is that useful unless you're using an exotic that gives you a bonus to dodges? The Frosties, giving you a bunch of different ability regenerations just by sprinting and giving you increased sprint speed. Something awesome, right? But very little amounts of energy. It's extremely insignificant, the bonus that you get. Gemini Jester, dodging disorients nearby enemies and removes their radar. Something that I would like to have a second dodge charge on, but I can't because it's an exotic with another exotic. Overall, this thing can be useful in PvP, definitely disorienting people, but it doesn't help in direct gunfights, and that's oftentimes what I'm faced with. Lucky Pants, if you like hand cannons, you want to switch to hand cannons very quickly, and you happen to be using a build where you need to be switching and being very accurate with hand cannons right after switching, you can use this one, but that never happens to me. And finally, you have the Bombardiers. Dodging leaves an explosion right where you dodged, and maybe killing an enemy that you just punched, for example. But in my opinion, this is kind of like Call of Duty's Martyrdom. Oftentimes, to get that explosion, you're gonna have to die for it, because it's not something that often saves your life. It's something that just so happens to get a kill. Moving on to the rank section, starting up with number 10, we have Shinobu's Vow. Improving skip grenade, which means they get more little tiddly bits that fly out when it hits the ground. You get an additional skip grenade charge, and skip grenade damage gives you energy for more skip grenades. This is the reason why things like in my opinion, this is the reason why Ophidius Spath just giving you an extra melee charge, or Six Coyote giving you an extra dodge charge, is so insignificant, because we have exotics like this that give you 3 different bonuses, albeit to a very specific grenade, which is only part of one subclass, but still way more bonuses than just one more charge. Now that being said, obviously you do have to use skip grenades. If you don't like that, you're not going to find a lot of benefit. Coming up at number 9, we have the Foe Tracer. In my opinion, a very criminally underrated exotic. Visually marks targeted enemies, which means if you shoot the enemy, you get one of those hit marker things like One-Eyed Mask, and you deal more damage to low health marked enemies. So if you want the best part of One-Eyed Mask in an exotic just by shooting enemies that nobody knows about, so Bungie's not going to nerf it, you got it. Now obviously you don't get the healing and you don't get the damage bonus, but it's still something that's incredibly useful because that's the best part of One-Eyed Mask. At number 8, we have the Gwyn Sin Vest, something that used to be a lot better in the meta when Spectral Blades was absolutely running rampant. Basically giving you more super energy when you get kills and go into stealth while you're in your super, allowing that super to last longer, do more. Now this super has been nerfed a whole bunch, so it's not as useful as it was before, but it's still a very useful super, and this is a really good bonus to have on there. Coming up at number 7, we have these Stompies. Bit of a controversial pick here at number 7. Most people would probably think it should be a lot higher in the list. In my opinion, this is a very aggressive playstyle exotic. Being able to increase your sprint speed and slide distance is all about getting in there with your shotgun. Being able to improve your jump so you absolutely just ping up into the sky has been used to great effect against me many times. That being said, I have a much more defensive playstyle. I like to do a lot of laning. I like to be very defensive. I like to use cover. I like to stick with my team objective play. I'm not a very aggressive player, so this just doesn't fit me. But this is probably going to be one of the best PvP exotics. Up next at number 6, we have Liar's Handshake. It's been used a lot lately with the 1-2 punch combo, allowing you to get some pretty insane amounts of melee damage. Now they have nerfed the combination of 1-2 punch and Liar's Handshake multiple times already, but it's still something that can do a pretty significant amount of damage, and oftentimes can accidentally get you one-shot melee kills in both PvE and PvP that you did not expect. And also, may I just say, having a knife right above your knuckles, like almost Assassin's Creed style, obviously the other side, is also really satisfying. Coming up at number 5, and in my opinion, my favorite PvP exotic, we have the Wormhut. Being able to just dodge to give you a little bit of health and shield is something that's really useful to me. Because again, my playstyle is more defensive, I can hang around cover. If somebody is near me or out damaging me, I can just do a little bit of dodge, avoid those shots that are already shooting at me, get a little bit of health, and re-engage with increased vigor. Now, it's not as good as it used to when it used to be where you dodge and you get full health and you start recharging your shields really, really quickly, but it's something that is definitely positive, very nice for defensive play, and it's just for a dodge, which you can get like every 13 seconds. I really like this one, and I definitely use it more often than Stompies. Coming up at number 4, we have the Shards of Gallon, where hits and kills with your Blade Barrage return super energy after the super ends. Now, a lot of people drop this after the 3rd time it got nerfed, but in my opinion, getting, half your super or even a third of your super from just using your super is still extremely significant. Getting more supers in a PvE game or more supers in a PvP game is still very significant, and in things like Mayhem, you'd get your entire super back. So there's certain modes that are a lot more advantageous than others. And honestly, the super also does a lot of damage. So getting your super, like half your super back just by dumping it on a boss is still really nice. Coming up at number 3, have the Raiden Flex chest piece. Now this is one of my favorite exotics in the entire game, has been since the game came out, where quick successive attacks with your Arc Staff super increases the damage and its duration. And let me tell you, the duration goes up to like 24 light attack hits. The super lasts a very long time and does incredible amounts of damage. Now, in my opinion, this is the literal #1 best ad clearing super in the entire game, bar none. Even the Trample from the Titan and the Dawn Blade Attunement of Fire from the Warlock, just because they last longer from kills does not mean they do as much damage, and it does not mean it lasts as long as a Raiden Flex. The only issue is that ad clearing is not a big necessity these days. We have a lot better weapons these days, we have a lot better neutral game options, and oftentimes ads you clear with your special weapons or your primary weapons. So Raiden Flex just hasn't seen a lot of use cases lately, and that's why it's dropped to number 3 from number 1 of last season. But still, in my opinion, one of those exotics that is criminally underrated and underused. At number 2, we have the Orpheus Race. Now this one was actually a very close one between number 1 and number 2. If you haven't heard of it already, the Orpheus Race basically gives you more super energy for every enemy that you tether with your super, which again, just like the Shards of Gallon is very significant, especially a super that's a support super, allowing you to give you more orbs to your teammates and more super energy to you is very significant. On top of the fact it also gives you a damage bonus, so it can be used on bosses, still give you super energy back for hitting that boss, even if it's just the boss. It's just something really nice to have. Now again, just like the previous item, the Raiden Flex, you just don't see it used that much anymore because we have different options for those kinds of encounters. Which is why, in my opinion, the Celestial Nighthawk is the #1 exotic for hunters in the game right now. Obviously, it's a very specifically a PvE exotic, but I would say in pretty much every raid, every boss encounter, every time you have an enemy with a lot of health, Celestial Nighthawk is always useful. Being able to do double the damage that your total Golden Gun damage can possibly do with just one shot very quickly, allowing you to switch over to another weapon and start doing damage with that is significant, and it is extremely powerful. And if you're ever doing DPS to a boss and you see the end damage numbers, oftentimes the top damagers are the ones that had Celestial Nighthawk. To give you a better idea of exactly how effective the Celestial Nighthawk is, let's go ahead and take a look at the numbers. Now this is another spreadsheet that I do for PvE heavy weapons, where I actually track the DPS, how much damage certain things do, and all the reload and all that whatnot. I have in fact put the Celestial Nighthawk as well as the Titan Sunbreaker, which is much farther below, to give you an idea of how much damage it does. Now if you were wondering, what I have measured here is the amount of time it takes to activate the super, aim at the head of the enemy, finish the super, and fire the first shot of the weapon you have equipped. That's exactly how long it takes, 3.7 seconds, and it still does an absolute ridiculous amount of DPS. And the Izanagi right now does 42,000 DPS. Using a Celestial is almost always worth it. And that is why, in my opinion, the Celestial Nighthawk is at number 1 and the Orpheus is at number 2, because Celestial is just being used more often, because for those scenarios that you need it, it is more useful. And that's going to be pretty much it. That is the end of the spreadsheet, the end of the top 10. Let me know in the comments down below if you have any questions, concerns, or if you have any changes or additions or comments that you'd like to make about my top 10 or just in general my spreadsheet. Please let me know. I'm not one of those YouTubers that will just shun any other opinion. I want to know how you are using those exotics, how I can make the most out of every one of those exotics so that I can do the best in Destiny 2. And that's exactly what these spreadsheets and these videos are about. Figuring out your playstyle and how you can perform the best with your playstyle. But that's it. I hope you guys did enjoy. If you did, make sure you leave a like down below and subscribe for more Destiny 2 spreadsheets and top 10 and 5 videos in the future. My name's Nightchronic, and I will see you guys on the next one.